my main forte is teaching people finance and investment. That's my background. What Rebecca wanted to help me with, or for me to help with you guys with today, is to talk about all your options after college. Because I've already talked to a couple of you guys, and what about you ladies over here? Do you guys hear pretty much college and that's it? Yeah. I'm here to tell you guys all of your options after high school, because there are other important options. First off though, I want to tell kind of my story and who I am so you guys, for lack of a better term, trust me a little bit. Because why should you trust me just because I say I'm a business owner? It doesn't really mean anything if I'm not making money. So, when I was in high school, I never thought about what I wanted to do after high school, ever. I was raised in an Air Force family, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to join the Air Force like my dad and travel the world like he did. And then in my junior year, I took the ASVAB, which is the military requirement test, I guess, to see your competencies and how kind of smart you are, what career field you should be in. Scored really high on it, but then the recruiter found out I had a seizure when I was 12 years old, which automatically, if you have a seizure, it doesn't matter if it's your epilepsy is gone. I was diagnosed with epilepsy for a little while. It doesn't matter if you have one seizure, you're disqualified from the military no matter what. So my entire life, I hadn't thought about what I wanted to do after high school, and all of a sudden, going into my senior year of high school, I was pretty much screwed. I didn't know what to do because there was nothing, frankly, else I wanted to do other than join the Air Force. But I ran track, and I was pretty good at it. I went to state track meet in South Dakota. I lived in South Dakota at that time. 2 years in a row, my junior year, my sophomore year, and my junior year. And of course, being my senior year, I was expecting to go back again because I'd be even 1 year better. I ended up, or I contacted one of my high school coaches. He contacted one of his, it's called South Dakota State University, one of the track coaches there. He said with my times, I could probably walk on my first year and then get a scholarship my second year and therefore if I continue progressing like I was. So there was my second option, going to college and running track. My last race at the state track meet in South Dakota, I tore both of my hamstrings and both of my calves. So I rehabbed all summer, got ready for next track season. My first race back, my senior season, I tore my hamstrings again. So my body was giving out. There went option number 2. So about the same time, I developed severe dizziness issues. To this day, I still deal with this. It's mostly under control now, but they still don't know what caused my severe dizziness issues. I was about 17 when that started, so I'm 31 now, so about 14 years I've been dealing with this off and on. So I couldn't go to college because I tore my hamstrings. Couldn't go in the Air Force because I had a seizure when I was younger. And I was having these severe dizziness issues starting when I was 17 years old. So I had no skills at 17. I mean, looking back on it, I'm sure you guys probably think you have a ton of skills, a ton of potential, and you all do. But looking back at myself, I didn't have any skills. Like I told these guys earlier, I spent most of my time in high school hanging out, chasing girls, playing sports, and hanging out with my friends. I didn't look at my future even a little bit because, again, I spent most of that time thinking about why I was going to go in the Air Force. So, with these severe health issues, I had been dealing with them for about 5 years or so. Me and my wife are high school sweethearts. We met when I was 16, she was 17. We're still together 15 years later. Yes, I'm very lucky. If you can find something like that who will stick with you over severe health issues. There was literally 3 years of time where I could do nothing other than lay down and watch TV for 30 minutes at a time. And I would feel terrible the rest of the day. Wanting to throw up, not wanting to move, not wanting to eat anything just because I felt so terrible. But we have been together, we've been married for about a year or two at that point when she found out she was pregnant. We were pregnant with our first daughter. And I thought, I was going to say the curse word, I don't know, is that allowed or not? Okay, I immediately thought, oh shit. Not because I was nervous about having a kid, although I was 23, 24 24 years old. I didn't have any skills, didn't have a job, still was dealing with severe health issues. I didn't have any skills whatsoever. But I thought that because I was like, I need to figure out something I can do, even if it's years down the road, where I can make money to provide for my family. So, at that point, I thought of three things. I thought of becoming a writer, which I was terrible at that time. In my high school, one of my high school teachers, my senior year, and I was really close to her, and we grew up, and we had me and her son played sports together. So, take this with a grain of salt. She said, "I hope you never want to become a writer because you suck at it." And I did. I sucked at it. It was terrible. I got a D on the paper. I almost flunked out of English class. And I never flunked out of anything when I was in high school. I almost flunked out of English class. That's how bad the paper was. So I thought of becoming a writer. I thought of becoming a politician, but nobody likes politicians. And I'm a terrible liar, so that would not work out. And then three is I thought about investing. Why investing? When I was in my senior year of high school, we had a class called Consumerism class. I don't know if you guys have something similar, but they teach you things like how to write checks, how to get a credit card, basics of investing, compound interest, stuff like that. And one lesson kind of stuck with me was the lesson of compound interest and a little game we played, which was you could put all your money into, you got a fake $100,000 portfolio and you could put money into it. And it was interesting, and of course being teenage boys, we picked Playboy, Nike, and some other stuff like that. But after we got towards the end of the year, I was the only one even paying attention because I don't know if any of you guys are seniors in here, but I'm sure if you are, you're probably not wanting to do much of anything. So none of my friends who were in my class wanted to do anything, and I was the only one who showed even a little bit of interest in stocks and investing. So I put all my money into what would have or the fake money portfolio into a tech company that had just IPO'd at that time. They were selling around $50, $60, $70 a share, something like that. And I found out they had competitive advantages, which is very important in investing. They turned out to be Google. If I would have put my real world money, I didn't have $100,000 obviously as a high school kid, but if I would have put that that fake money portfolio into Google, I would be, it's over $5 million just off that $100,000 I would have earned. I've now written books on teaching people how to value invest, which is what I do. I value invest, which is pretty much buying public company stocks, evaluating them, valuing them, and then buying them underneath what I deem is their fair value. I built courses for people. On my courses, I coach $10,000 coaching training sessions to paying clients. I've been hired by a prominent investment newsletter based off of the strength of one of my analysis articles that they found online. I now work with guys who do tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue for their own businesses. I consult with them on marketing. And last year I met with people worth more than $1 billion. I'm not saying this to brag or anything, I'm just saying that you do not have to go to college, especially in your guys' age. My kids are younger than you guys. They're 7, 4, and 3 months old. In your guys' age, you guys have a lot of luxuries that we do not. I'm only 31, so it's crazy how fast technology has changed. What I do now, along with that consulting and writing and all that other and marketing stuff that I do, I work from home. You can work from anywhere in the world you want as long as you have an internet connection. You do not have to learn these skills in a college. And frankly, something like marketing, which the guys I'm consulting with in New York, they've given me access to more than $20,000 worth of courses where I've learned marketing. I knew nothing about marketing March, April, until about June of last year. Now I've started my own marketing agency. I've got a team I'm building where we're building a ClickFunnels agency, which is a sales funnel. You get people into marketing, all that kind of stuff, and buy your products and stuff like that. Some of the richest people in the world, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, college dropouts. I'm not saying this to denigrate college in any way. I just want to give you guys all the options. I was telling these guys earlier when they first came in that I wish there would have been a program like this because like with you guys, everything was, because I grew up near a military base, everything was either college or the military. That was it. No talk of technical schools, no talk of starting a business, no talk of gap year, taking a vacation, no talk of getting a job and just doing that and nothing. So that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today, is the options outside of college. You do not, I'm a huge believer that if you're willing to work hard enough and to learn and gain valuable skills, you can do anything you want. Why? A, that's how I was raised. B, I'm proof of that. I've lost about 45% of my life up to this point to severe health issues. We're on track this year to do at least $100,000 in revenue in my companies, and the target actually is $1 million this year. I've never stepped, other than for graduations, I've never stepped foot on a college campus. Not once. I'm also a member of Rutgers University, one of the most prestigious universities in the entire country, part of their CX advisory board member, which CX is pretty much, it's a fancier term for marketing. I helped build the curriculum for the marketing, for their CX program. And again, obviously I'm probably a little bit biased against college. I want to be upfront with that. I'm probably biased against college because of my experiences in life and also family and friends' experiences. My brother, for example, he went to college and he got a criminal justice degree that he doesn't use. He pays like $800 or $900 a month in student loans that for a degree he doesn't use. Has it helped him get other jobs? Yes. It helped him get the current job he has now. I have other family and friends. A lot of my family and friends are either nurses or teachers. My wife's a nurse. For nurses, doctors, lawyers, I think college is pretty much necessary if you want to do those kind of things. Mainly because people will not hire you if you don't have a piece of paper. You don't have a degree, you don't have that kind of stuff. Pretty much everything else, in my opinion, you can learn online now. Where's my phone? Right here. This has more knowledge on it in the palm of your hands that you can search in 5 seconds than the entire world. Before, 10 years ago when smartphones came out, had gotten combined to that point, tens of thousands of years, whatever the time frame is. To me, and I like to think I'm a pretty smart guy, but to me, knowledge is becoming a bit of a commodity, which is to say it's becoming devalued. Skill sets, passion, being able to learn fast, those are ultra valuable things you can use in any aspect of your life. I've been hired specifically for my ability to learn fast. I was told by these guys in New York, the reason they first hired me was because I'm able to learn things so fast. I went from, in the marketing arena, again, zero knowledge to within 3 months being told by a world-renowned marketer who does tens of millions of dollars a year to some of the biggest marketing companies in the world. He looked at the stuff I had set up and he said that I'm doing stuff with people with 2 or 3 years of experience after only 3 months. If you can learn fast, you can learn any skill you want in the world. If you have, and you don't even necessarily need the passion. And you hear, I'm sure you guys have heard, follow your passion, follow your passion, follow your passion, that kind of stuff. I think for the most part that's a bunch of crap. Because if you follow your passion and you can't figure out how to make money out of it, you're going to be poor. You're not going to have any options. Money gives you options. In my businesses, if I'm not making cash, if I'm not producing cash flow every month, I'm going to have to fire my team. And I have to do the stuff I don't want to do anymore. Money gives you options. So that's kind of what I want to talk about kind of at the intro. Do you guys have any questions before we talk about some of the specific kind of components? No? All right, so having said all of that, college is a fantastic option if you want to get a job and career. If you're willing to deal with the insanely high cost, or in some of my resources over there that my team and I have put together, depending on your grades in the state of Florida, you can actually go to college for free. If you get, I think it says A's over there. If you get all A's, you can go to college for free in the state of Florida. There are resources over there. You can find student aid, grants, scholarships, all those kind of things, which I would highly recommend doing. Again, if you want to go to college, it's great at finding a job and career. It's not necessarily great at making you a ton of money, which, if you're anything like me with a lot of high school, you guys want to make a lot of money, right?
Yes.
Yes? People want to make a lot of money? So, again, if you want to be a lawyer, doctor, nurse, those kind of things, and you can make a lot of money. You can. My wife's a nurse. She loves it. She works with moms and babies. She absolutely loves it. A lot of my friends are nurses and teachers. They love it. And nurses, I'm not going to say teachers make a lot of money, but nurses can make pretty good money, especially in this area. We came from South Dakota, where my wife was making, I think, $20 an hour. After 5 years of experience, she came down here and she's making like $30, $35 an hour. So it depends on where you want to live to. Again, options. If you get into a career like nursing, teaching, being a doctor, being a lawyer, you can work pretty much, as long as you don't get into trouble, you can work pretty much anywhere you want in the entire world. So college degrees give you options. Again, I want to be upfront with you and say that a lot of these jobs, in my opinion, will go away in the next 50 years because of automation, robots, things like that. But people will always need doctors and lawyers, teachers. People will always need those kind of things. So if you're going to go to college, I highly recommend you get into a program that you think is going to be around for a long time. If you go for something, I mean, the old saying is basket weaving, underwater basket weaving, or whatever the old saying is. If you go for something like that, where it doesn't have a long-term future, your degree, in my opinion, is going to be pretty much useless. Accounting, like you said, that's going to be probably a good one for a long time. People are going to be numbers. People are always going to need numbers, and a lot of people don't like numbers. So that, and if you can go, if I were to go back and if I wouldn't have, my body wouldn't have been failing, and I would have not torn my hamstrings and calves, I would have gone to college, but I would have gone with a specific purpose, to get a lot of connections and to get out of there as fast as possible with a degree I can use, so I don't have a ton of student debt. What is it now, like to get an MBA, which is what I would have gotten for finance and investment. It's, if you go to even a decent university, it's like $100,000. That's a lot of money. I don't care how rich you are, that's a lot of money, especially if you're going to be in school for up to 6-7 years, which is what an MBA takes to get. You got to think about it in terms of what an investment term called opportunity cost. In 7 years, you pretty much let's go 6 years, because that's typically what an MBA is. 6 years. You spend $100,000 to get an MBA. What else could you have done in that 6 years to make $100,000 instead of paying somebody for something that might not even be useful when you get out of school, unless you want to go work at a big investment firm like Goldman Sachs or Wells Fargo or whatever it is. The reason I say that again is because I've been told dozens of times at this point that my knowledge of how to invest in real world businesses is better than people who have run billions of dollars. And I can actually back up my numbers. I actually got called out by somebody on a Facebook investing group the other day who said I shouldn't have written my book because I didn't have the proper experience, in his opinion. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something because you lack the proper experience in whatever their opinion is. His opinion was that because I didn't have the necessary years of experience, I shouldn't have written my book. I've helped thousands of people from all over the world with my books and my programs and my website. I've beaten, you guys know who Warren Buffett is, right? Blank stares? Warren Buffett? Who? He runs Berkshire Hathaway. He's like the second or third richest person in the world, worth like $70 or $80 billion. I need to get you a book on him, first of all. Second of all, he is known worldwide, known as probably the greatest investor to ever live. over the entire course of world history, he's known as the best investor ever. In my first 6 years of my career, I've produced higher returns for my investors than he did for his investors. Again, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something because you lack their version of proper experience. There's a great saying by the comedian Steve Martin, be so great they can't ignore you. I don't have the advantages of being able to go to college because of my health issues. I don't have the advantages of some fancy degree. I don't have the advantages of rich parents. I don't have the advantages of living in New York City, the financial capital of the world. I have to use what my skills and my advantages are to my advantage, and I have to be better than a lot of people my age or in my situation because they have those kind of advantages. But having said that, your perceived disadvantages can become your greatest strength. People ask me all the time if I could go back, would I get rid of my dizziness issues? If I could, would I just go back and get rid of them? I always tell them no, and they look at me like I'm nuts. I've lost 42% of my life because of them, and they look at me like I'm nuts. But I wouldn't do it because it's made me who I am today. It's given me my advantages. In any situation, you have disadvantages and advantages. No matter how you look at them is what you internally think they are. My disadvantage of my severe health issues has taught me extreme patience, which you need as an investor, which you need as a business person. If I didn't have that, I would still probably be chasing girls somewhere. I was going to go after high school. One of my other options was I was going to go teach English in Vietnam and South Korea. I was going to teach English over there, and I wouldn't have my 3 daughters or my wife if I would have done that. So there's no way I would go back and turn it back. You guys have any questions about college before we go on to the next thing?
I have a question. You never told us what your brother did with the criminal justice degree that he got.
Okay, my brother. He was getting ready to graduate. Him and his wife were going to be, I think they wanted to be detectives at some point with their criminal justice degree. One of their friends, who was a cop, I think he was a street cop at that time. He got shot and killed back in my hometown, Rap City. And they both went to the funeral because my sister-in-law was very close to that guy. She worked at the jail at that time as a booking tech or something. So she was pretty close to him. She knew him pretty well. And she was like, I can't do this. They went to the funeral, and like that, they were like, I can't do this. So that's why, and again, that's a perfect example along with my tearing my hamstrings and my seizure. You need to have multiple options. You need to know all your options. Because frankly, life isn't going to play out as you plan. If you're anything like me, my plans suck. They never work out. Life happens, kids happen, marriages happen, you might fall in love, you might fall out of love, you don't know. One of your friends might get hit by a car when you walk out of this building, you don't know. You need to live your life to the fullest that you possibly can every day. There's another saying I love by Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's right-hand man. He's another billionaire. He's helped him build his company to what it is today. He says knowledge compounds like interest, which means compounding of interest or compounding of knowledge. The more you learn, even if it's only 30 minutes a day, the more you learn, the more you're going to know over time. I was telling, I think it was you guys earlier, that I'm completely self-taught. Everything I do is either courses, books, audio programs, YouTube, whatever. I'm a sponge when it comes to learning. That's how I'm able to learn so fast. And I'm on track this year. For the last 3 years, I haven't tracked, or before the last 3 years, I never tracked how many books I read because I spent a lot of time reading. And the last 3 years I've been tracking. First year I read about 75, last year I read about 50, and this year I'm on track to read between 50 and 75 books a year. Why do I do that?